Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now I've really been debating with myself for the past couple of days whether or not to go back and do a 2.0 review on this figure by Hot Toys, the quarter scale Dark Knight Rises Batman. I have reviewed it in the past, but that was when I was living in the old place and the setting was completely different. I did shoot it with a pretty high quality camera back then, so the quality was fine, but just as far as consistency goes with the latest reviews from the last couple of years, it just doesn't look as good as far as I'm concerned. So I thought I'd go back, do a 2.0 or a revisit review, whatever you want to call it, on this amazing quarter scale figure by Hot Toys. I think it's one of the best figures Hot Toys have ever made in any scale. One of them for sure. It's absolutely incredible. So it's with great pleasure and excitement that I'm able to go back now and review this figure again for you, and I hope you enjoy it. It'll be nice to get a more recent review up, considering I've just recently reviewed his nemesis, the Joker. There he is. And liking that figure more and more every day. But right here we got something seriously special. Came with so many goodies. Anyway, strap yourselves in. It's time for a 2.0 review on the Hot Toys quarter scale Dark Knight Rises Batman. Now this particular release by Hot Toys came with so many accessories. He actually comes with everything you would need to set him up in a look from the Dark Knight or the Dark Knight Rises. In fact, a lot of people would be forgiven for assuming this is actually based on the Dark Knight, considering the current look that I have him set up in, with the backpack there housing his cape and the sticky bomb gun from the Hong Kong jump sequence when he goes to fetch Lau. Now, you have the bit of scaffolding there on the base, which would remind you of the moment when he finds Harvey Dent's coin, after Harvey Dent unfortunately gets, blown away, shall we say. But they also give you the Sonar Head from the third act of The Dark Knight, the regular Batman cowl with moving eyes. All these mouth plates can be interchanged. I have 4 here in total, so you get a lot of options. Plus the EMP gun from The Dark Knight Rises. The die-cast batarangs, which are really heavy, very satisfying. I wish more accessories were die-cast, but at least those batarangs are. The grapnel gun here with the removable cartridges at the front. Some really good hand sculpts. The interchangeable neck piece for when you want to set him up as the full Batman look. But just a great amount of accessories here. I hope I've actually got everything here on the desk. There may be a couple of little bits and pieces missing. Not missing, they are in the Batman drawer. But I tried to find everything I could for the review. But the main bulk of the goodies that you get with this piece are present and correct. The 3 mask accessories that came with this release are fantastic, and this was just the regular version. The exclusive version of this figure also came with an empty Batman cowl, so that you could have him set up in this look, but holding his empty mask. I unfortunately decided to go with the regular version. Didn't think it was really necessary at the time, but looking back, it would have been nice to have that empty mask. But you can still kind of get away with that look, getting him to hold one of these and just turning it the other way around. But you do get the Scarecrow mask from Batman Begins, the Bank Robber Joker mask from The Dark Knight, and Bane's mask from The Dark Knight Rises. So very cool stuff. That Joker card is very cool as well. Some really great accessories. Pretty much everything you'd want. Sonar Head, and obviously the eyes are fully lit up right now. These are the original batteries from when I first got the piece. When it was first released, I got this pretty early, and these are still the original batteries, and it's very bright, very effective, so there's no complaints there with weak LEDs inside the Sculpt. They certainly get the job done. If anything, they're too bright. But that's, you're not going to hear me complaining about that. I'd much prefer they were very bright and in your face rather than dim and not really getting the job done. So they did a fantastic job with the light up feature on this. Really, really cool. Incredible job with the regular cowl, with the eyes inside. Now, a common thing that I used to find with the 1/6 scale Dark Knight figures from Hot Toys was that the eyes were too wide open. He kind of looked surprised a lot of the time, especially with the DX12, I think it was. The Armory head that came later on was basically a shrunk down version of this and looked incredible. But the MMS and the DX12 just looked a little bit, well, not so much the MMS release. That was the first time Hot Toys did the Dark Knight. But certainly the DX12 let me down a little bit because Batman just looked constantly in a state of shock. Whereas this one, the eyes are just open enough. See, I like my Christian Bale Batman eyes to be a little bit more squinting, just a bit more aggressive, a bit more focused. I don't want him to look like he's falling asleep, but this is perfect for me. Maybe even a tiny bit more of a focused kind of squint look going on, but this is fine for me. He certainly doesn't look surprised like he usually did with the 1/6 scale versions, but again, they did fix that with the Armory version. I'd be very curious to know if Hot Toys are ever going to do another 1/6 scale Dark Knight Christian Bale figure. There really is no need now, but I would be curious to see what they would do to kind of justify that. But we certainly do have enough to be getting on with now. And I've just moved the eyes to the side, so he's looking to his left, and you have the two sticks inside the cowl there. Once you move them to the side, you're probably going to have to get tweezers to kind of get that, the stick that's in the corner of his cowl there. Your finger's probably not going to be able to get to that anymore. But this piece here actually comes out and goes back in again. I think you're supposed to remove this in order to make it easier to get to those sticks. So they really did think of a lot with this one. So, hats off to Hot Toys with this particular version. Just made it all the more frustrating with the recent Joker release because he doesn't have moving eyes. And this older figure did. And, if anyone should have moving eyes, certainly Batman should have it. But the Joker certainly could have done with this as well. So yeah, I've just removed that inner part of the cowl. It just makes it easier to get to the sticks. You can get a really good look there. And obviously you can just press out the mouth plate by pushing on that little bit right there. So very well thought out, really well done. He looks a little bit dopey right now, which is the fun part as well. You can have a cross-eyed Batman, or let me just put one eye all the way up there and the other one. There we go. Duh. I think I know who did the crime. It was Mr. Stupid Head. Even more funny is this mouth plate with crazy eyes. There you go. Where were the other jokes going? All right, let's take a nice look at this head sculpt of Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne from The Dark Knight Rises, the last film in the trilogy, so he was older. They do illustrate that with the sculpt in subtle ways. You can see bit of crow's feet action in the side of his eye there. The eye mole, or the wart, whatever you want to call it, is present and correct. They sometimes can be quite kind to certain actors when they produce their head sculpts, either in the, just cleaning up certain things and making people look a lot fresher and, younger and just more pristine than they, really are in the movie or in real life. You see that a lot of the times with people's hairlines, the amount of hair they have. Things like Christian Bale's little mole there, or the wart, whatever you want to call it, in the corner there near his eye. But on this one, I mean, it's all 100% legit, Everything's been done. The hair looks great. The crow's feet just by the eye there. Nice and subtle, but definitely present. Look at the mouth, the chin, the jawline, the stubble, the texture on the skin. Just amazing. Really, really incredible stuff on this. Now, I've seen a lot of people put together Bruce Wayne figures with this head sculpt. It's a shame not to use it. Most people will be rocking this figure in a full Batman look. But I have seen quite a few people get themselves a cool suit and a Cool Models quarter scale body, which is the body I'm using on my big Michael Myers over there. And then they put themselves together a cool Bruce Wayne for the collection. Now, I've never been tempted to do that myself. However, I do, regret just having this amazing Bruce Wayne head just kind of in a bag in my drawer of Batman stuff. It just seems like a bit of a waste for such an amazing sculpt. Let me just turn this around a little bit, zoom in again, and let you get a look at it. Now, the eye color on the head sculpt, let me just turn his head up a little bit and let the light hit them. Now, the eyes, it's debatable, but I'm pretty sure he has a hint of green. It's like hazel green, Christian Bale's eyes. Like the Entebbe figure, for example, they got the eye color correct. But all of the Hot Toys releases, when it comes to Christian Bale, they tend to get the eye color a little bit wrong. Some people would say it's a minor thing, but I mean, getting someone's eye color right is quite important to how they appear to you. So it's a bit of a shame because they, from regular viewing distance, they do look very brown, just straight up brown eyes. And that's not the case in real life. There is a bit of a hazel green situation going on there, which again, Entebbe did get right. I just noticed there, because I turned his head, you can see a little bit of the flesh tone there, which shouldn't be showing. You actually need to just turn that down a little bit. But there you go. It's an amazing head sculpt, regardless of eye color. It's a little thing. Some people would call it a little thing. Other people would call it quite a big thing. I guess it depends on which side of the fence you fall on. But regardless, looking at that sculpt, it's a winner. No doubt about it. That is one of the best head sculpts I've ever seen. The backpack here attaches so easily. It just clips into the two slots where the actual cape would go into. Now, one thing, you won't be seeing the cape for this figure in the video. I never use it. I never did use it. I did try once to install the cape, but it's such a pain in the butt to do. I did end up using the Entebbe Batman Begins suit cape on this figure, and that's the cape I'll be putting on him when I, put him as his full Batman look for this review. So you won't be seeing the Hot Toys cape because it's just terrible and I hate it. So, but this attaches very easily, slots in at the top and then just kind of wedges in underneath some of these armor pieces here. There's just a little clip that just sort of catches on there and it just stays in place really well. But it works perfectly, it looks great, and it's very easy to install. So there's no stress with that. An amazing suit all the way around. Just all the different techniques and materials used here to, it just allows you to do great poses and really good articulation, because this is all kind of nice thick, well, it's not thick, but it's certainly there's no rubbery kind of material on the actual undersuit. This is all a nice kind of mesh material that allows you to do any kind of poses that you want. You've got great armor here that's obviously just decided to unglue itself, and that's a bit weird. I've literally just discovered that now. I wasn't expecting that to lift off all the way. This is separate from the underneath one, so I guess I need to super glue that back down again. So there's a live discovery for you during the review. That is not supposed to do that. You can see that the other side here is still attached with the glue, so I'll have to fix that later on. One thing I've experienced in all my time of collecting Hot Toys figures is they don't seem to use very good glue when it comes to, especially the magnet stuff. The glue always seems to come loose. How's this one doing? Is that going to lift off? No, see, this one's fine still. But yeah, two separate pieces, just like in the film. So that's a bit concerning. Now I have to super glue. Well, there's no need to even really super glue it down, to be honest. It's still very much on there. But I will super glue it just a little bit just to get it to stay in place. So that's a bit of a pain in the butt. All right, now coming back to the shoulder armor, I haven't super glued it. What I did was I looked over on the other side and I noticed this triangle section here was very flush and almost like a part of this actual shoulder armor here. See this little triangle? That is actually the underneath section that comes up through the triangle hole and just looks, flush and seamless when it's all correct. So I just literally got a tweezers and stuck it underneath and just pushed this back together again, and that is holding everything in place just perfectly. So I could super glue it, but I don't want to go using super glue on a piece like this. It's all fixed now. The arms still move. Everything is back the way it should be, and that is problem solved. Just to let you know, that all worked out a treat. Really impressive work with the sticky bomb gun. It's all collapsible, if that's the right word, so you can take it apart into two chunks and then clip and turn and twist things back together again until it makes just two solid pieces that attach to the back of his belt. But you actually have the countdown on there. It says 2 minutes 30 seconds, and it's just really well done. And here it is, all back down again to be put back on his belt. So just 2 sections. And now that one's back on there, and here we have the other one, which I've managed to track down. And if I can get this done one-handed, nope. And you can see in the middle there, that little bit that sticks out, that will just go clip on there. And now the sticky bomb gun is attached to the back of his belt, thanks to those 2 clips. And there you go. There's another cool display option for you. Now, I think we've seen enough of the Christian Bale head. Let's start to get him in his full Batman look. But it's really cool that you're able to do that with the sticky bomb gun, just like in the film. Really cool. Probably should have that one spread out a little bit more to this side, but just trying to get it done for you, that you see how it all works. Alright, so the Batman neck is back in. That was very easy to do. It wasn't too strenuous getting the Bruce Wayne head off and this neck piece back on. And it's all magnet based, so that will just stick right on there. And there he is. Batman. Looking quite serious there because I turned his eyes slightly upward, looking up. So when you turn the head down, it just creates this kind of cool, focused, aggressive Batman look. So there he is, with the sticky bomb gun on the belt and the backpack. I mean, it just looks amazing like this. But I gotta rock him with his cape in the full Batman look. That's just how I like to have him. But, you know, it's a great figure for all the different options you have as far as how you're going to display him. But that looks pretty beastly. Alright, so taking off the backpack, super easy, barely an inconvenience. You just got to clip it in there. And then, like I said, there's these 2 little hooks here. They just kind of clip on underneath here. So the first thing you do is you clip it in here, turn it down, and then it will just naturally kind of grip onto the armor at the back. So really, really easy. And now I'm literally going to take the Bay Batman cape, which is absolutely stunning and perfect material. However, it's not as black as I'd like it to be. But like I mentioned in another video, Wayne's butler on YouTube, Mr. Curtis himself, he did say, why don't you try dyeing this much more black than it appears right now, which I will do at some point in the future, or ideally track down a velvet cape for this figure here, because I do think black velvet is the best thing to use for quarter scale Nolan trilogy Batman figures. It's just perfect. But I'm going to stuff the ends of the cape in here now with just a little tweezers, and I'll show you how it looks. And here he is with the cape installed. Now, as you can see in the very bright daylight that we've got today, which is great for the review, but not so good for Batman's cape, because it gives it, well, the Samsung phone that I'm using to film could be altering. Let me just look with my actual eyes. Yes, the phone is indeed making the cape look lighter than it actually is. It's also giving it a slight purple tinge, which it doesn't have in real life. So it's just something that the camera tends to do. So believe me, in person, this cape does register a much more dark charcoal black rather than this kind of slight purpley look that it has on film. It's a bit of an odd one. But anyway, just beautiful material that Bay used on their cape. Again, this is not the Hot Toys cape. This is a different company's cape that I like to use on this piece. So, you know, like I said with the comment from Wayne's butler, I do need to eventually get some jet black dye and maybe darken this cape a little bit. But I do love to use it for this figure. But there he is in his full Batman look. And it is an incredible thing to behold. Now, just to show you that you can pose him in, you know, fighting stances, and you can bend the elbows and lift the arms up and do all that good stuff. And you can leave him like that on display for long periods of time because the suit is so well designed and it allows you to do things like that. Unlike with the Batman Begins suits and other Batman suits, like maybe the Tim Burton suits, stuff like that, you wouldn't really be able to do that with full-on rubber, you know, Batman outfits. So this one does allow for cool stuff like that. You have, you know, this is all like a nice mesh material, so you are able to get a nice elbow bend there and leave him like that without any fear of things cracking and stuff like that. So really fun in that department. One of the few Christopher Nolan Batman figures that you can actually have some fun posing and leave him in that display, you know, however you want to rock him. It's all good. You can get creative and have your own unique look for your Batman figure. I just received a random little package from Alex McPhee, who sent me this tiny little Catwoman who's super posable. Like, really, really posable. Oh, her arm just came off. Hang on. Wait. There it is. Stripy socks, stripy socks, stripy socks. Yeah, I'm sure that just pops back on again. But Alex, if you're watching, man, thanks so much. That's a really cool little thing. Little tiny little Catwoman. Super posable. I behead thee. Well, that didn't take much. Oh, that's gone as well. There it is. Stripy socks, stripy socks, stripy socks. There it is. Thank you, Alex. That is super cool. Nothing's broken, don't worry. It's just, it all comes apart because you can interchange things. I don't think the arm's supposed to come off, but I'm sure that'll go back on again. Thank you, Alex. Uh-oh. There she is. Aww. Ruby time. Should really give Ruby her own YouTube channel or her own Facebook account. Isn't it right, Rubes? Hello. Yeah. Come on. There she goes. Ruby. Ruby. Do your funny thing where you sit like a bear. Go on. Ruby. Ruby. Sit like a bear. Sit like a bear. She might not do it though because she's just eaten a big bowl of dog food, so she might not be feeling very athletic. Go on, Ruby. Do your funny sitting thing. Go on. There you go. Look at that. A combination of a dog, a sea lion, a bear. Like man, bear, pig, but dog, bear, seal. Really can't stress enough how impressive it is that they managed to shrink this down to quarter scale as accurately as they did. I know there's a few other options out there. I mean, not as posable as something like this being a full-fledged figure, but I know Prime 1 are doing an amazing Dark Knight Rises Batman. I forget the scale. Is it 1/3? Something like that? Maybe half scale? I'm not sure. But Sideshow Collectibles have also done a pretty big Dark Knight, but that is obviously a statue pretty much stuck in one look. Whereas this, you know, it's a full-fledged figure and you can pose it however you like, and it looks very realistic. I think it looks a lot more realistic than the Sideshow piece. Can't really say the same about the Prime 1 because I've never seen that in person. I did see the Sideshow statue once at Forbidden Planet, and yeah, I thought it was pretty impressive, but I would have, you know, I'd choose this over that personally. I really think the fact that it's fully posable and the eyes move and all those interchangeable mouth plates and different looks that you can have adds so much more life and keep the excitement of it being something truly special in your collection. It keeps that alive longer because the moment you start to get bored of it, if you have the enthusiasm, you can really renew that love with the right pose and the right look. And this is exactly what I mean by having it be a fully fledged posable figure. It just allows you to change the mouth plate out, change the arm position, change the posture, get him looking like he's ready for a fight. Now, obviously, this pose isn't too good. I literally just did this in about 2 seconds just to illustrate, changing it up. You'd be much better off checking out the, specifically made showcase videos to, highlight stuff like the posability and the different pose options. This is just to quickly illustrate the change in the look that you can get pretty easily. But yeah, man, it certainly is fun posing this guy. It's pretty much limitless within reason. This camera really does make that cape look purple. Trust me, in person, it's just straight up like a dark charcoal black. But for some reason, Samsung Galaxy is making it look purple. It is also changing the color of the mesh kind of suit underneath the armor plates. They're actually way more black in appearance in person as well. It's an odd thing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Forget about it. It's Batman. Again, just trying to illustrate the versatility of a piece like this. Pretty good stretch between the legs there, getting a bit of a wide stance going on. Again, like literally 3 seconds spent posing him just to show you the movement. And a pretty good balance as well. I mean, obviously you want to use a stand when it comes to your display, but he stands up really good. Dude, that looks cool. I wanted him to look like he was just kind of walking forward. Full intimidation mode. The eyes looking upwards, teeth showing, fists clenched. He's just walking towards you, letting you know that it's on. It's on like ping pong. That's right. And again, just letting you see the balance here. He's standing up really well. I mean, I got the legs as close together as I can get them. And he's, just standing up unaided. No problem. I mean, I've had him since day one. And all the joints are pretty much ratchet based. So that's important to note. Elbows, shoulders, knees, the hips, the ankles. Maybe not so much the ankles. I think they are a little bit. But definitely the knees, with the legs drawn onto the torso, elbows, shoulders. And you got a fair bit of articulation in his torso as well. So you can lean forward, lean back. I mean, it really is quite impressive when it comes to the movement articulation. It's just very well thought out. Now, it's interesting to note, if you remember my Joker review for the big Joker, this was his groin grabber stand. That's the one that came with the Joker. This is the one that came with Batman here. And it is obviously specifically designed for a quarter scale figure. So I don't understand why they... because let me just see the size here. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely smaller. And this is the one, obviously, like I said, came with the Joker, and it doesn't do the job. Now, I think this is the size of the one that came with the Batman Begins version up there as well. And that's actually marking the front of his suit, where these are touching the rubber on, the bat suit for Batman Begins. So, I don't know. I just don't see why didn't they give you... This is an older stand, because this figure came out before the other two. So why not just stick with this? At least this, was wide enough here to actually cradle... I was going to say something. Cradle the ball. I mean, I'm sure there's a pose out there that makes this mouth plate look good, but, it's also just really amusing to look at him like this. I mean, it would work good if they made a quarter scale Bane, and Bane was punching Batman in the gut, and he was kind of like, then maybe, but looks kind of funky. Kind of funkatronic. Comes out pretty easy. This is the mouth plate that I tend to use the most. I just think it looks 100% like Christian Bale. When it's matched up with the cowl, the eyes, it all comes together to look extremely accurate to me. And it really does remind me of the moment of The Dark Knight Rises at the end, where he's flying the bomb out to sea in the bat. And you get the close-up of his face. Well, you get the close-up of Batman. And I really do think that looks very accurate to that moment. Just very alive looking. The eyes, the skin texture on the mouth plate. Oh, there he is. Don't go to sleep. Mikey gonna get you. Something to bear in mind, if you ever drop your Batman head and you get a nasty scrape or a scuff on the cowl itself, matte black spray paint is very good for just completely respraying these heads, which I have done because I had a little scratch just going across the top of his ear before, and I didn't like it being there, so I thought, okay, that's it, I'm going to just roll the dice, get some matte black spray. It's actually meant for cars, and I covered the eye holes with blue tack very thoroughly to make sure no paint would get in there, took out the mouth plate and just put the head on a stick or whatever and just sprayed the whole cowl again. And you'd never know. I mean, it's absolutely perfect. I actually did it to my Batman Begins quarter scale by Hot Toys as well, because I had a little tiny scrape. That was actually out of the box like that. He came with a little mark on the side of it. It's usually the ears for some reason. But sometimes you'll notice, like there was a little mark I noticed earlier. See there? Like right there as the sun catches it, this little weird streaky thing. Now I can fix that in a heartbeat with a little bit of matte black spray, so I guess I'll have to do that. But it is worth bearing in mind, if you ever do drop your head, or if you get a little scrape on it, or it's got a little weird mark straight out of the box, cover up the eye holes thoroughly with blue tack, remove the mouth plates, and just matte black spray paint should do the trick. I mean, even Seb, that's Sebastian on YouTube and Facebook. If you're watching, Seb, shout out to you, dude. But he actually saw my video about me respraying my heads and did the same, and he was very happy with the results. So, yeah, it's worth bearing in mind if you ever do end up with any scrapes and scuffs. It is totally fixable with these particular figures. Just a bit of matte black spray paint. I'll just give you a little side-by-side shot of the Joker and Batman together. Now, as you can see, Batman is considerably taller than Heath Ledger's Joker, but in reality, I've been told, I haven't actually checked for myself, but I was told, and I have heard a couple of times people mention that Heath Ledger was taller than Christian Bale. And maybe not by much, but that seems to be the word on the street. So that's not accurate, and you'd wonder, if that is true, why did Hot Toys do that? That's strange. I mean, Joker's considerably shorter here than Batman. I mean, obviously Batman has all the armor on, but it's not like his boots add much weight to him, or much height, should I say. But the base that they're both standing on, they're basically the same height. I mean, give or take a milliwatts it, you know, a milliwatts it. But yeah, they look good together. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if someone was to fashion a quarter scale interrogation room, believe me, the pictures, would have the potential to be absolutely insanely realistic, especially if you got your Joker rehaired, But yeah, there they are together, looking pretty good. And just in case you have no intention of watching the previous two videos I mentioned, where I showed all three of these together, I'll show you now, just briefly. So yeah, Joker is the shortest of the bunch. And the Batman Begins does seem just fractionally taller than the Dark Knight Rises Batman. If you look at where the shoulders kind of, I don't know. It does seem like the Batman Begins Batman is just fractionally taller overall. Everything just seems to be slightly higher up on the Batman Begins one. I mean, you have to bear in mind the stance of the Dark Knight Rises Batman. Because of the stones on his base, you have to move that right leg of his wherever it needs to be in order to get him to stand up as straight as possible. If anything, the posture or the kind of stand that he's in there would maybe add a slight bit of height to him overall, but the Batman Begins still seems fractionally bigger. Everything, the tips of the ears, the shoulders, where the belts are, the knee. Yeah, I mean, the bases are basically exactly the same height, but it does seem to be that the Batman Begins is the tallest of the bunch. So, there you go. And just one little look at both of these guys, just side by side, without the Joker to distract you. You have these two awesome suits. Now, I'm always going to love the Batman Begins suit the most. This is the suit, this is the film that really, Batman Begins is the reason there is a channel you're watching right now. That's it, straight up. I saw Batman Begins and it started this whole thing. So, it certainly had an impact on me. And I definitely felt literally gutted when I was sitting watching The Dark Knight for the first time in the cinema and I saw this suit for the first time in the Hong Kong scene. I remember literally feeling very sad because I knew that that was the end of this suit and I wouldn't be seeing it again, in the rest of the movies. So, I grew to like this suit. It took a long time, I tell you. The main problem I had was not, how, intricate and there's a lot going on here. I think my main issue was just the neck change. I think, looking at it from the front here on this particular figure, it may not look that impressive. But just the animalistic, beastly, hulking, brutal simplicity of this design, I still love it to this day. I think it's always going to be my favorite suit and always going to be my favorite film. When it comes to, my favorite superhero film is in singular, just one man making a difference. I don't think you can beat Batman Begins. Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi film, is a very close second for me. And I really love the original Iron Man, and, I can go on all day. But Batman Begins just leaves me with a feeling that no other film manages to do. It always leaves me feeling full of hope. And it really does hammer home that point of, if you dedicate yourself to something, if you really go for it and try, you can actually make a difference all by yourself. And it's an amazing film, and I love it. And the way it ends and introduces the Joker. But my main thing with the Dark Knight suit, as impressive and cool as it is on a technical level, on a functional level, I just think you've sacrificed intimidation for practicality and functionality. I think the intimidation factor is very important with Batman. He has to be frightening. Even if people are used to him and they know his MO and they know he can't kill or won't kill, I still think he has to strike fear into people. And I'm sorry, I just don't think this suit strikes fear into much. Maybe some people would think this would look scary, but in the darkness, this suit has the ability to take on a shape like, it's demonic kind of. You imagine in Batman Begins on the docks when he was attacking people and just snatching them into the darkness. It just must have been damn freaky, because those people, remember, they had no idea what Batman was. He didn't exist. And this thing on the docks with, as far as they're concerned, wings and pointed ears, just this black demon, was just coming out of nowhere and snatching fools. So I just love it. But anyway, there they are together. So let's just turn these side profile and we'll get a look at them staring each other down, which would be a fight I'd like to see. But I might have said it before, and I've seen other people say it too. I would have paid big money to see Bane and Batman fight, but with Batman wearing this suit. Or specifically, like people said, great idea, and I don't know if I said it, I think someone else said it originally, but in The Dark Knight Rises, when Bane breaks the bat and, rips this cowl up and destroys the suit, whatever he did with it, if, because I'm sure Bruce Wayne would have kept a version of this suit, as a memory of when he first started his cause and stuff, so it just would have been so much cooler. I mean, it's in broad daylight, in the middle of New York, I think, where they filmed that big fight sequence. Maybe Pennsylvania or Philadelphia? No, I can't remember. Pittsburgh, that's the one. They shot in Pittsburgh and New York and all kinds of places for The Dark Knight Rises. That's another thing. You could always tell when you're watching that movie that it's shot in all these different places, whereas Batman Begins, it just looked like Gotham. Really dark and rainy and dangerous place. And then in The Dark Knight, it got very much more... I know the Narrows was the focus of Batman Begins, and in The Dark Knight they wanted to expand on that and made it, they showed more of the actual city and the kind of the high-rise area. But I don't know, man, I just love the look and the feel of Batman Begins. Everything about that film, man. The score, the fact that it was James Newton Howard and Hans Zimmer, so those two people combined. There's some really beautiful tracks on the Batman Begins score, not just the really awesome thumping, pounding Batman themes, but the actual more emotional themes. There's one track, I think it's called Lazarus or something like that. It's the Ra's al Ghul theme, and it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely incredible. Anyway, I feel like I'm gushing a little bit here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up. Do you know something freaky? That's twice today that Batman picture up there has just made itself crooked like that. There's literally no reason why that should be happening. I think I might have a ghost situation going on. Was it him? Alright folks, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this review because I have reviewed it in the past. This is a 2.0, so it's just really a chance to give this review a second chance with the new setting and the new camera and the new, you know, just enough time's passed now where I can really honestly say I've had this figure for a few years and I absolutely recommend this very highly. I'd give this a 10 out of 10. Now, remember I gave the Joker a 5 out of 10. That's not because the Joker is a terrible looking figure. There's certainly some issues with the visual side of things, like the Joker's coat just being a very inaccurate shade of purple as far as I'm concerned, and the fact that they, you know, took away some stuff they established with figures like this, like the moving eyes, and it was just a great shame. So they really kind of slacked out a little bit with the Joker, but they went full out, absolutely on a mission to impress with this one, and they did. So 10 out of 10. See, I'm fair, man. If they bring it, then I'll give them the score, but if they don't bring it, and if they cut corners and try to save money and rush something, then I'll let you know about it. But this is a 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. Forget about it. It's absolutely essential. If you, you know, if you collect the Dark Knight trilogy stuff, if you're fine with owning a bigger figure every now and then this is absolutely necessary. Can't give it a higher score. It came with so many good things, and I just think it looks incredibly realistic. It's certainly Christian Bale in the Dark Knight suit. And what more can you say? An amazing piece, absolutely essential. Hope you've enjoyed the review, and keep an eye out for that live stream coming up from me, Justin, and Tony Stark. That's Tony Stark, Budget Stark. You know, that's his name on social media. It's Anthony Sang, but it's Budget Stark on well, when he was on YouTube and all that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to getting together with those guys and having a nice little get together, do a live stream, some fun is on the way. So plenty more videos on the way too. Still got the review for Flash, the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Flash figure from Justice League. Looks very impressive. Seen some really cool reviews on that, and he is coming soon to review. So it's going to be coming thick and fast. Alright, thanks for all your support, guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, and check me out on Facebook and Instagram at DeanKnight333. You can click on the link under this video and join up with the Patreon page for $1 a month if you want to help the channel toot along. It also gets your name on the end credits of every video. That makes you a producer of the content that I put out. So you can join me on Patreon if you wish. And I will see you real soon. I'm very distracted by him. I might need to move Michael Myers, because you won't believe how many reviews I've sat here and filmed, and every couple of seconds I'm talking, but my eyes go to that. But where else am I going to put him? Like, there is nowhere else Michael Myers could go. I tried once to put him in this little gap space here, but then he totally blocks the view of the Batman stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling. See you later. Take it easy. Bye bye.